Students, I will discuss today the second lecture of employee silence, employee voice and silence. That second lecture is measuring employee voice. Now see, employees sometimes they are not raising their issues, but what is the mechanism we need basically to understand the problems related to workplace, being HR manager, being other people, what way you will be knowing what employees think about workplace issues regarding the salary, quality of work life, regarding work life balance and some other issues of workplace related, and the measuring employee voice under the domain of employee voice and silence. Again, it is the matter of research issues. Slowly and gradually we are moving towards higher part of organizational behavior. Elementary part already I have discussed, beginning 3 to 4 models, but as and when you are approaching next domain of organizational behavior, you will be finding some of new things, new practices, new dimensions of organizational behavior, which is very much practical, very much applicable. What we can measure? See, if you are not knowing exactly what kind of employee voice and you are not measuring it, that may be adversely affect on employee engagement, employee commitment, of course job performance, of course subjective and objective financial performance. Now, what way we can measure it and what are the issues are there basically? Measuring the voice of employees, importance of measuring employee voice. This is the two different things I need to clarify basically very systematically. Measuring the voice of employees, what exactly? What are the different mechanisms developed by different organizations and what way can improve the importance of measuring employee voice. Some people are silent, some people are not much interested to raise their voice, sometimes management are not ready to listen the people directly. So, we need to measure the employee voice, what level of their voice which can be helpful in policy making. Now see, first one is the measuring the voice of employees, employee engagement survey, pulse survey, exit interview, 360-degree feedback, employee net promoter score, ENPS. These are the 5 different models which is very helpful, very useful for any organization. Employee engagement survey first, what is it exactly? Sum of survey any organizations can organize. See, there is no any kind of survey directly what employee feel about the workplace, but you can survey this thing indirectly. Here is employee engagement survey. Gallup chief scientist of workplace engagement has extremely studied employee engagement. His work in implemented in this book Well-being at Work 2021 and Gallup research report. This comprehensive survey measure employee satisfaction, motivation, alignment with organizational goals. Example, Gallup Q12 survey questions, employee engagement, through which 12 key questions such as I know what is expected of me at work and I have the materials and equipment I need to do my work right. So, Gallup questions 2012 is much important to understand the employee engagement. I think although several other authors, they have identified the good number of measures, good number of scale to measure employee engagement. Why I am talking about employee engagement here? And I am telling you it is not possible one can directly measure the speak up policy. It is not possible to measure the voice of employees, voice of the people regarding workplace related issues. But you can ask indirectly, there is so called employee engagement. So, Gallup has studied, they have identified the Q12, that is another thing, but every organization can do this kind of study, so that you will be knowing exactly why people are not engaged, why people are engaged, which is exclusively related to workplace. Then second measure, PAL survey. PAL survey means what? In this book, The Truth About Employee Engagement 2007 by Patrick Lencioni emphasized the importance of frequent feedback to address workplace issue proactively. Short, frequent survey that capture real-time employee sentiment on specific issue. Example, a company might send a monthly pulse survey asking on a scale of 1 to 10, how supported do you feel by your manager? So, pulse survey is nothing basically, by pulse is very, name itself very important to understand real practices of employee engagement. So, through employee engagement you will be knowing exactly what are the real conditions of employee bias. If the sum of issues we are not knowing exactly through employee bias, but we will be knowing through the employee engagement system, is the pulse survey. Third number is the exit interview, which is very important. William S. Mackay and the Benjamin work, The Meaning of Employee Engagement 2008 highlights the importance of exit interview in understanding employee dissatisfaction. This is very important part, students. You want to know about dissatisfaction, so you can ask about the exit interview, because you have not listened earlier. If you listen continuously, the people, and I am sure there will be no need of any kind of survey. Recently we have the mechanism of HRIS, Human Resource Information System, through which we will be knowing each and every people's informations time to time. We can do some kind of research, some kind of analytics, some kind of metrics we can develop, through which we can have some analytics, and we will be knowing exactly what is the reason of dissatisfaction. This is very common practices. Then conducted when employees leave the organizations to understand their reasons for departure and gather insights for improvement. Example, asking departing employees, what could we have done differently to retain you? So, this is very important part. Departing employees, you can ask these questions, what kind of things we have applied for retaining you. So, my submission is that those who are leaving the organizations, it is very much clear he is to leave, but at least you can ask these questions, what efforts been made by the organization. So, tactfully you need to raise the questions, otherwise you may not be knowing the right issues. Now, fourth important thing is the 360-degree feedback. By name itself, it is very important to understand. You just ask some questions not only to the peers, not only to the superiors, your seniors, you just ask your subordinates also. You can ask the other people, those are associated with the organizations. So, this is also one of the great things, 360-degree feedback. Otherwise, you will be completely unknown what exactly happening within the organization. So, multi-rater feedback system where employees receive feedback from peers, managers, subordinates. A manager receives feedback from their team on their leadership style and communication skill. I think 360-degree feedback is much important, much useful techniques or mechanism through which you will have maximum information about the organization. Now, see fifth number, employee net promoter score, ENPS, employee net promoter score. Employee net promoter score, exactly what? That Fried Richard, who introduced the net promoter score concept, the book, The Ultimate Questions 2.0, 2011 was applied this metric to employee feedback. A metric measures employee loyalty by asking on a scale of 0 to 10, how likely are you to recommend this company as a workplace. Example, a company with an ENPS of plus 50 is considered to have highly engaged employees. Now see, employee net promoter score is also much important techniques for understanding the employee bias. As I told, it's not practical to know what are the causes of, why people are not raising their bias, why are people remain silent, but some alternative way also you can gather information from different sources that can help you basically for causes of dissatisfaction, causes of turnover, causes of lesser commitment, causes of lesser citizenship behavior, lot of things are there basically, Now, importance of measuring employee bias. Why employee bias? Why employee bias is very important? Is it necessary to know? Because you are in multinational company, you are HR official, say for example, different people at different location, at different organs. Now that cases, understanding commitment, understanding engagement, understanding citizenship behavior or understanding their job performance is very important being a HR official. So this thing is the main point is that organization never cares about the rumor, they are not caring about the individual bias. Then management has the unique system, that is they have the unique trade unionism, and organizations prefer to use the bias of trade union, not the individual. But what is very important, I am telling you students, try to catch up some of useful information or bias from every individual. So enhanced employee engagement and job satisfaction is very important. It's very peculiar term I am telling you for every organizations, understanding job satisfaction, because this is very elementary part of every resources those who are working in organization. And if are not clear properly causes of dissatisfaction, you are not clear about causes of disengaged, causes of disengagement, causes of least engagement. Only how many people are engaged in organizations, this percentage is not much, but least engaged people, its percentage is higher. Not engaged people, its proportion is also is very big amount. Now ultimately how many people are working in your organization, because you are not giving the individual bias, employees bias. As a result, they may be silent, they are not cooperating, they are not giving the right informations. Remember, those who are working 10 years, 12 years, that is so-called employee experience, it is a great assets of any organizations, it is a great value for any organization. So improves organizational decision making, it's very important things, improves organizational decision making. What is it exactly? Organizational decision making means what way you are making decision exactly. The moment you are making decisions, do you have complete knowledge about the alternatives? Do you need the help of different other group of people? If you measure the employee bias, then ultimately that can help to improve your decision making, encourage innovation, problem solving, reduce workplace silence and fear of retaliation. These are all very important part, reduce workplace silence and fear of retaliation, very important part. Now see, already I have discussed all these things very seriously, but some of points you need basically for your purpose, basically you can see employee who feel heard are more engaged, committed to their work. Example, a study by Dundon et al. 2004 found that organizations with strong employee bias mechanism experience higher job satisfaction and lower turnover rates. This is very important study. I think that employee engagement, job satisfaction, if you have the proper mechanism of raising your bias. Now see, enhance employee engagement and job satisfaction. Do you feel it is much important domain of organizational behavior? Of course, yes. That is for most important part of any organization, because when the people turn into disengagement or turn into least engagement, that is backward movement. Forward movement, sometimes it is very common, that least engaged people can be converted into engaged. But thing is that when people moving towards backward movement, it is very dangerous for organizations. So time to time you need information, either you do the research or just develop some skip up policy. Now second important point, improves organizational decision making. So what exactly organizational decision making? Students, decision making which area? I am just quoting some example in the field of HR. Suppose you are in great crisis of performance appraisal, which is very internal mechanism. So you are reviewing the performance appraisal mechanism. You need to change the new techniques of performance appraisal. So what to do that particular cases? What way you can channelize these particular things? So that cases, it is one of the powerful decision making of an organization. I think performance appraisal is one of the pinpoint of HR policy of organizations. What way you just give the value of their work and their work style and what mechanism you are following. So many traditional methods or modern methods are there, but traditional methods normally people are using in PSUs or government organizations. But in some of good organizations, some of blue chip companies, some of rapid growth firms, they are using some of advanced methods, behavioral related methods like as behavioral anchored rating scales, BARS model, then some other models, 360-degree appraisal model. Some of advanced model is very important because of, mechanism is not something like that, how many performance appraisal mechanism is not something like that, how many units you have produced, being a manager, how many files you have produced. But thing is that how fruitfully, how smartly you just address the particular issues very scientifically. So that cases is much important to understand what are the things are basically demanding by the people. What people demands basically, what way performance to be appraised. So without understanding, it's not the invisible practices. You can't appraise the people whatever you like, but you need the proper what I said, that the proper feedback from the people before application of any kind of performance appraisal mechanism. Try to adopt good feedback from the different group of people. This is very important. Third number point, as I discussed, encourage innovation and problem solving is very important. Liang, Fan and Farr 2012 found that companies with strong promotive bias culture generated more innovative ideas. Now see, what is it exactly? Students, I must be knowing basically innovation from employees or problem solving by employees. This is one of the two critical points for every organization. Why these two critical points? Students, you must be knowing. You need to develop some of innovative practices all the time, whether it is in HR area, different domain of HR area, different domain of marketing area. Now, what way you will be knowing exactly this is the innovative practices, how this practice will help to the organizational domain. So innovation and problem solving much powerful construct, more important domain every organization. So it is possible only if we have the sound voice recording mechanism. Do you have customized communication practices? So that you will be knowing the different information from the different group of people. Fourth number, reduce workplace silence and fear of retaliation is very important. When organization measures employee bias, they can identify barriers to open communication such as fear of retaliation or lack of trust. Example, Morrison, Millikan 2000 introduced the concept of organizational silence where employees refrain from speaking due to a fear of negative consequences. What exactly reduce workplace silence? Reduce workplace silence, you like to know basically why people are silenced. Because majority of the cases that has been established that people, individual voice does not have any value. It is fertile. That means don't give any kind of voice, don't raise your issues, and this is happening almost maximum organizations. So that has to be broken down, because that kills the performance of individual as well as organization. Now see, when organization measures employee voice, they can identify barriers to open communication such as fear of retaliation or lack of trust. Some of research are there, basically you have seen that some people refrain from speaking due to a fear of negative consequences. It is happening, I think good number of practices are there. Now see some of questions I have raised for you people, students. How does concept of psychological safety influence the effectiveness of employee voice mechanism in organizations? What are the key difference between formal and informal methods of capturing employee voice, and how do they impact organizational decision making? How can the employee net promoter score and ENPS be used as a predictive metric or metric for organizational performance, and what are its limitations? How does the concept of organizational silence interact with formal voice mechanism, and what institutional safeguards are necessary to mitigate fear of retaliation? Now see, these are all the questions that can help you basically to understand this particular lecture. So you can have answer basically if you go through the entire lecture very seriously. Now see, some of reference are very important for you purpose. I think I have told that this is the study basically, whereas you can find the more books basically to understand, rather you can find good research article that can help you basically, but some of articles I have generated for you people, you can see that will be better understandable, like as Ban, Dane, Ang and Botaro, IC 2003, Liang, Farr and Farr 2012, psychological antecedents of promotive and prohibitive bias, Morrison, EW 2011, already have cited this thing, employee bias behavior, integration directions for future research, Academy of Management Annals. These are all the things are much helpful for you people. So this is the issues what I raised basically, measuring employee bias through different mechanism, through different techniques, because without understanding, without you have the strong mechanism, perhaps you may not be knowing exactly what way you can improve the operations of organization as well as individual performance. So thank you very much for listening this particular lecture, the measuring employee bias. Thank you very much.